All right, we've gotten to our last video of the day, and it's going to be chapter 3 and asking the question: Is the cost of a devout life, committing to the Christian life, too high? Excuse me. Um, and so now Rhoda's going to do a little more to what is it? He's going to do a little more to try to personalize, his his wager to individual people's situations. And so let's go. First, on the handout, he's going to consider three sorts of cases. Okay, three sorts of cases. So the first one is going to be roughly like the situation that people are in. A lot of people in the United States are in fact, which is um, I think what his chapter 2 was about. For a lot of people, um, it's not a great cost to committing to a religious life. This is a, uh, a a free country as of far as I still know. So that's the first case, which is the relatively normal case. And then the second and third case, I think they're just a difference in a matter of degree. So let's talk about the third case. So the first case is kind of the normal case. The third case is where, he sets up the case where you're in a country where Christians are persecuted, and you and your family could be executed for committing to practicing the Christian life. So that's kind of the catastrophic case. That's the third case. The second case is somewhere in between. There would be major consequences for you, but not as like nobody's going to die. As far as I remember, Rhoda talking. So it's a little bit more. It's major, but maybe you could lose your job, or in other ways it could like have deep costs for you. But I think of these differences mostly as a matter of degree. But he splits them up into three because I think that helps organize things. All right. So on the first one, now to go over this, it might be good to just review a little bit um, Rhoda's way of looking at things. So I drew up this chart. Sorry for that glare there. Okay. So if I were better, I would get that glare out of the way. If I were better, I could have, and I knew how, I would know how to, um, just show this all on a screen. But, this is what we'll have to work with for now. Okay, so you have this option of committing to God, and then there's going to be your eternal divine benefits, this world benefits, the psychological benefits being religious, this world costs, which is you might have to give up. By committing to God, you might have to give up, your Sunday mornings or certain lifestyles. But the big thing about here is these eternal divine benefits. And that's a big difference between the way the world would be if you committed to God and naturalism were true. Where the same this world benefits and this world costs are going to be roughly the same, maybe. That might be simplifying things. I think if Christianity is true, then you might have this world benefits too from God's actual intervention. But supposing naturalism is true, you'll lose out on this world benefits. But the ones that Rhoda is focusing on are going to be, if you commit to God and naturalism is true, then you're not gonna have heaven. You're not gonna have God having joy, other saints having joy, and so forth. Okay, now compare that to this case where you refrain from committing to God. Again, there's these costs. You refrain from committing God, but Christianity is true. Oh crap! There could be eternal divine costs. For Rhoda, he puts that as less chance of maybe having eternal life. We talked about this. Rhoda doesn't talk about hell much, but it could be increased chance of hell. But you will have this world benefits by refraining from committing to God. You can have more independence and freedom, and so forth. But there will be also the this world costs. You might lose out on some of the things religious people get by praying. And the point is, the difference between this state or this outcome and this outcome, everything's reversed, is this part. If you decide not to live the Christian life, but naturalism's true, then well, at least you don't lose out on eternal glory and bliss. You're gonna die, and naturalism's true, and that's all there's gonna be. The this world benefits and the this world costs for these are going to be roughly the same. All right. Now, what Rhoda's doing, okay, when examining these cases is roughly the difference between this, and then this and this are going to be the same. The main differences are going to be the this world benefits, this world costs, and this world benefits, this world costs in each of these. So, um, if you commit to God and you live in one of these persecuted countries, then this world benefits is surely going to go down. All right, you're going to lose out on a lot in this life, and this world cost is going to come up, and that's going to be true on whether Christianity is true and naturalism is true. All right, and so I kind of wanted to just like review this to help you see what's going on, what's actually changing in these boxes. Um, and same for this case, if you refrain from committing to God. Okay, um, with that in mind, let's talk about what he says for the second case, where it's not what he describes them as not catastrophic, but still major costs. Um, and he uses a neat argument. I mean, so option well, okay. Let's actually start from the first one, which I think is similar to what he already covered in chapter 2. But one thing he adds is for people, kind of in the more normal situation in the United States, where there's not crazy cost to being religious, is some people worry, you might lose a little bit of some friends, or you might think that you won't be as happy anymore. But one thing he does to try to quell that worry is on page 60, he mentions that humans do tend to not be great at being able to forecast what's going to make them happy or what's going to make them unhappy. I know a lot of you have called into question some of the psychological literature that Rhoda cites, and I'm friendly to that too. But I mean, some of these kind of just make sense. I guess I'm a little more older than you. You can ask older people, but sometimes I am surprised that like, oh yeah, I didn't know that living life a certain way would actually make me overall happy. Or I thought, oh, if I didn't have a relationship with this person, I would be so broken up. But actually, like, it turned out I was fine. So we're not always great at knowing what's going to make us happy. But Rhoda does point out, look, it looks like from the literature, a lot of religious people are happy, so that's a good predictor for you. That's what he says to try to quell some of these worries. Was it convincing? Well, we'll see. Wish we could discuss this and go back and forth, but I guess you can talk about this in the discussion board if you have any questions about it. Okay, the second scenario is major but not catastrophic costs in this life. He uses a neat thought experiment. It starts on page 62. And he starts with you imagining that you have a 50% chance of helping your friend live for the rest of this life. Okay, what do I have to do to get that coin flip chance of your friend surviving? Well, you just have to commit to living the Christian life. Would you do that for a 50% chance of your friend recovering from cancer? I think a lot of us would be like, well, yeah, we would. So that starts with this proposition number 1 on page 62. There's that proposition number 1. Oh wait, that's proposition number 3. Proposition number 1. Okay, you can't. Okay, to go to page 62, the first proposition. It would be reasonable for me to undergo a 50% risk of suffering the net costs of mistaken religious commitment for the sake of having a 50% shot at saving the life of my friend. Best friend, actually. Okay, but then he says, this is a pretty neat argument, even if you disagree. If that's true, then proposition 2. It is reasonable for me to undergo a 50% risk of suffering the net costs of mistaken religious commitment for the sake of having a 50% shot at any good that is as valuable or more valuable than saving the life of my best friend. I mean, if you're willing to do it for your best friend, and that's valuable, but you find out there's something even more valuable you can get by living the Christian life for a 50% chance of getting that. Well, then premise 2, or proposition 2, seems to follow from proposition 1. Right? Now, we'll see if you can think of a good way to wedge that. But suppose you agree with 1, then 2 follows. I hope that's a valid inference. But if 2 is true, then proposition 3. Therefore, it is reasonable for me to undergo, for me to undergo a 50% risk of suffering the net cost of mistaken religious commitment for the sake of having a 50% shot at the net good that would come from committing to Christianity if Christianity is true. Okay, so 3 is supposed to follow from 2. Now, it's a 50% chance, okay, but if you agree with premise 2, that if you can have a 50% chance of getting this value, right, and we've agreed that Christianity has a 50% chance likelihood of being true, then you do have a 50% chance of getting this great value that you would have if you committed to committing the Christian life when Christianity is true. So that follows. And that's even if, it's going to be some major hardships for you to live the Christian life, but 50% chance of saving your friend or bringing something of as much value as saving your friend. And what would that be? You're getting the benefits of a relationship with God if given the Christianity is true. So I don't know. Even if you disagree, I think it's a neat argument. You'll have to figure out. Some of you might just, I don't like this argument, or it's not very good. But what you want to do, remember what we learned in philosophy, is try to say which part you disagree with. Do you agree with Proposition 1? Do you think that Proposition 2 doesn't follow for Proposition 1? Or do you think Proposition 3 doesn't follow for Proposition 2? You got to attack one of those if you're going to try to block this. Now, one student in her email asked, but is it really different? I mean, or isn't it different that it's about saving a friend or saving yourself? Or by saving yourself, you're getting the benefits of living a Christian life. And I guess the response to that is, it's not that different. I mean, we had to learn to value others, and we also have to learn to value ourselves, and we're valuable too. So that also matters. Okay, so that's what he's going to say about the second case. Even if there's a major cost, think of what it would take for you to go through in order to save your best friend's life for a 50% chance of saving your best friend's life. Okay, number 3, the third case scenario. Okay, I had 4 or 5 people write this on this. The first person, I was like, oh yeah, I'll just write. I just wrote a response. Second person wrote on it. Third person, and I was like, wow, a lot of people had some disagreements about this. Now, and that's the case where there's going to be extreme negative consequences. I think I might actually post something on our discussion board about this, maybe get some discussion going. 2 or 3 people really didn't like Rhoda's response. One person really liked it and was defending it. So that'd be cool. It'd be nice if we can go back and forth in class. But okay, I'll stop. I was crying over spilled milk. That's gone. But no, one thing we should say for Rhoda is, Rhoda does say that page 64, the second to last paragraph, I grant that the force of the wager is less evident in such cases, and he agrees. Okay, and basically Rhoda's going to have to depend a lot on this part, the eternal divine benefits and the eternal divine costs of committing to God if Christianity is true, or refraining from committing to God if Christianity is true. Okay, those are going to be what he's going to have to lean on. And now some of you were skeptical of that, but I mean, possible death in this life. But just remember, this life is what, max 90, 100 years? Maybe most of us wouldn't live that long anyway. But I mean, eternal life is supposed to be really, really long. Like, so in terms of expected utilities, if you were to plug in the values and write out your expected utility costs, I mean, it's going to be very high. So it's true, Rhoda does have to lean very heavily on these eternal divine benefits and these eternal divine costs to get his argument to work. But, I mean, what's the problem with that? Well, I'm sure some of you will think of problems with that. Yeah, now one thing I'll note, and this is to end this video, is Rhoda could say this, which is, that's true. Suppose that's right, and these people should be, it's not rational for these people to live the Christian life. Rhoda could say, but that's not going to apply to you, right? If you're reading this book, actually, if you're in my class, you're probably not in that situation. you and your families probably aren't going to risk dying for committing to live the Christian life. So Rhoda could still say, hey, think about this for yourself. Does this objection actually work in your case? Maybe it's true that people in these persecuted nations shouldn't be committing to live the Christian life, but that's the limitation to his argument. So he could say that. I don't see him saying that. And I think because he wants to lean heavily on the eternal rewards. All right, so that's chapter 3. Yep, there we go. All right, take care. See you guys in the next set of videos. Bye.